I never thought I'd be one of those guys posting here, but here I am. I, 34M, have been married to my wife, let's call her Amber, 31F, for 6 years. No kids, just the two of us, and until recently, I thought we were doing okay. We both have demanding jobs, but we made time for weekend getaways, date nights, and we rarely fought. If you asked me a few months ago, I would have told you she was my best friend. Things started to feel off about 3 months ago. Amber began going to this new massage therapist named Luca. Yeah, I know, sounds like a soap opera already. She said she found him through a coworker and raved about how life-changing his sessions were. At first, I thought, great. She's finally doing something to relieve all the tension she always complains about. But then the frequency picked up. It went from once every 2 weeks, to once a week, to twice a week, then she suddenly started going on Sundays. I asked her, jokingly, if she was trying to set a world record for most massages in a month. She laughed, called me dramatic, and said, "You wouldn't understand. It's not just physical, it's emotional release too." Okay? Then I noticed she started dressing up more before her sessions. Makeup. Hair done. New yoga outfits. Even perfume. For a massage? I asked about it and she rolled her eyes and said, "It's a confidence thing. Feeling good for myself." Cool. Sure. I'm not the jealous type, but something wasn't adding up. Around that same time, she got very protective of her phone. Changed the password, which I used to know, and even took it to the bathroom. She never used to do that. I asked her what was going on and she hit me with, "Wow. Paranoid much? Maybe you're projecting something." Right, classic gaslighting. To make things even weirder, she mentioned casually one night that she and Luca were friends now and sometimes got coffee after her appointments. I raised an eyebrow and she immediately got defensive, said I was trying to control her and that I was being insecure. So yeah, I backed off. I didn't want to be that guy who accuses his wife of cheating just because she found a therapist who listens to her. But something didn't sit right. She started coming home lighter, like she was glowing. But the intimacy between us? Dead. Kisses were quick. Hugs felt like obligations. Sex? Basically gone. And every time I tried to bring it up, she'd say, "I'm just exhausted," or "I'm working on myself right now." It didn't feel like I was losing her. It felt like I'd already lost her and just didn't know it yet. So, where did I leave off? Right. My wife Amber was going to massage therapy sessions twice a week, dressing up like she was headed to a date, and acting cold and distant at home. My gut was screaming that something wasn't right. But I still had no proof, and I didn't want to accuse her without knowing for sure. Until one Thursday night. Amber told me she was headed to her usual massage at 7 p.m. That wasn't weird in itself, she'd been doing that regularly. But something inside me just snapped. Maybe it was the way she smiled as she walked out the door, or maybe I was just tired of pretending like I didn't see the signs. So I followed her. Yeah, I know how that sounds. But I stayed a good distance behind and kept my lights off once I got close. She pulled up to the same strip mall I'd seen on her receipts, where Luca's studio was. Only this time, instead of parking in front like usual, she drove around back and parked behind the building where there were no windows. Red flag. I waited in my car for about 10 minutes before I walked around the side on foot. The building had a row of big front windows with blinds, but the back? Just one small window above eye level. I found a milk crate behind a dumpster and climbed up. And that's when I saw it. Amber was inside. With Luca. Except she wasn't on a massage table. She was straddling him on the couch, fully clothed, barely. They were kissing like high schoolers who just discovered hormones, and her hands were very busy. He pulled off her top, and she giggled like some teenage groupie. The same laugh I hadn't heard in months. I stood there frozen. My wife. My partner of 6 years. The person I thought I'd grow old with. Grinding on some wannabe spiritual healer like it was her job. I didn't want to believe it. I actually took my phone out to record it, but my hands were shaking so badly that I dropped it into the dumpster below. No lie. That moment kind of snapped me out of my trance. I left. I couldn't take it. I went home, sat in my car, and just stared at our house for a while. She got back around 9:30 p.m., humming as she walked through the door like she just came back from a spa. I didn't say a word. Not yet. Because now I needed to plan. So I waited until the next morning. I didn't sleep a second that night. I kept playing the image over and over again in my head, Amber on that couch, all over Luca like they were the only two people on earth. The worst part? I wasn't even angry yet. I was numb. Just hollow. When Amber woke up, I had already made coffee and was sitting at the kitchen island like a damn statue. She walked in, all cheerful like nothing happened. "Morning, babe." I didn't respond. Just stared. That's when her smile cracked a little. "What's wrong? You okay?" I said it flat out. "Who is Luca to you, really?" Her face froze. You ever watch someone shift into panic mode in real time? Her eyes darted, her mouth opened and closed a few times, and then she laughed. He's my massage therapist? Why are you asking that like I'm hiding something?" I didn't say anything. Just looked at her. Then she pulled the full gaslight maneuver. "Oh my God, are you seriously accusing me of something? That's so disrespectful. I can't believe you're doing this right now." I told her I followed her. Her whole body tensed. She didn't even try to deny it at first, just stared at me like I'd broken some unspoken rule. Then came the fireworks. She exploded into a full-blown hysterical rant. "You're insane. You're spying on me? That's abuse. What the hell is wrong with you? So what if I talk to him after hours? We're friends. Do you not trust me at all?" I said, "I saw you straddling him." That shut her up for maybe 2 seconds. Then she pivoted again. Now it was my fault. "Oh my God, I wasn't even going to tell you this, but Luca's been helping me through stuff. You've been emotionally distant. Cold. Of course I needed someone to talk to. You left me no choice." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She went from denial, to outrage, to victim mode, all in under 5 minutes. It was honestly impressive if it hadn't been so disgusting. Then she gave me the cherry on top. It was just one time. I was vulnerable. He kissed me. I didn't mean for it to happen. I told her she was lying because I saw her go to that back in trance more than once over the past few weeks. She paused again. Like her processor glitched. Then she screamed. "You're making things up. You're obsessed with controlling me. If you loved me, you'd believe me." I walked out. I wasn't going to let her twist this. Not after everything I saw with my own eyes. I couldn't shake it. Amber's hysterics, the lies, the manipulations, none of it added up anymore. Her emotional outburst had all the hallmarks of someone desperate to cover tracks that had already been uncovered. As a man whose trust was just shattered, I needed clarity. I needed facts. And I knew exactly where to get them. So I paid Luca a visit. I walked into his massage studio around lunchtime, unannounced. He was surprised to see me, his face went pale the second he recognized who I was. He tried to play it cool, offered me a seat in the waiting area. I didn't sit. "I know about you and Amber," I said. Silence. No denial. Not even a fake chuckle. He looked down and said, "I was wondering when you'd find out." That right there told me everything I needed. Then, almost like he needed to confess, he started talking. This man volunteered more than I expected. According to Luca, it had started off professionally. She came in for back pain relief after starting a new workout routine. Standard stuff. But soon she began requesting late appointments, after hours, private sessions. And here's where it gets disturbing. He told me Amber initiated the personal contact. He described how she began opening up about our marriage, complaining that I didn't make her feel alive anymore. She'd ask for longer sessions, started flirting, eventually testing boundaries. He claims she made the first physical move. Said it escalated gradually into something more intimate. I asked him if they'd had sex. He didn't flinch, more than once. At her request. She said it helped her feel powerful again. Let that sit for a second. She didn't just cheat. She weaponized the affair as some kind of self-reclamation. As if she deserved to betray me for her own personal growth. I asked why he went along with it. He gave me the usual crap, said she was vulnerable, and he was drawn in. No accountability. No remorse. Just two adults playing with fire and blaming the heat on the match. But the worst part? He told me she wasn't the only client he'd done this with. Apparently, Amber knew that and didn't care. She liked the competition. Said it made her feel like she was winning. That's when I left. What Amber had done wasn't just about physical betrayal. It was a calculated campaign of lies, manipulation, and selfishness disguised as empowerment. And I was done being collateral damage in her self-made drama. After my conversation with Luca, I went home with a strange calmness. The kind you get right before a storm breaks, when you know something big is about to happen, but you're not afraid anymore. I wasn't confused or emotional. I was done. But I still needed to hear how she'd spin it when I told her what I knew. Amber was in the kitchen, pouring a glass of wine like it was just another Tuesday night. She looked up and gave me a smile that used to feel warm. Now it just felt false. I talked to Luca, I said flatly. She froze mid-pour. The wine spilled over the glass a little, dribbling onto the counter. She didn't wipe it. She didn't speak right away. Her eyes darted to me, then to the floor. What did he say? She asked, voice tight. I shrugged. Enough. That's all it took. The act dropped. No tears this time. No dramatic gasps or hand-to-forehead theatrics. She went stone cold. So what now? She snapped. You're going to make me out to be the villain because I needed something you weren't giving me? That's when I realized just how far gone she was. Amber didn't deny it. Didn't apologize. She justified it. She started pacing like she was building a case against me. You're boring. You're predictable. I feel like I'm suffocating in this Stepford life you think is so perfect. I stood there, still and silent, just listening to her unravel. She called me controlling. She called me weak. She even had the nerve to say I should have known something was wrong, like it was my fault she cheated. But the part that made my blood run cold? She said, at least with Luca, I felt alive. You think just because you pay the bills and play the good husband, that should be enough? Maybe if you paid more attention to me instead of your spreadsheets, I wouldn't have had to look somewhere else. That was it. I told her I'd already spoken to a lawyer. That I wanted a divorce. That she could stay in the house temporarily, but I wanted her gone within the month. That's when the hysteria came back. She went from cold and cruel to full-blown meltdown in 5 seconds. Crying, screaming, begging. She swore Luca meant nothing. She blamed stress, hormones, loneliness, everything except herself. I didn't budge. I told her, this isn't a mistake. This was a choice. Over and over again. And now I'm making mine. She collapsed on the floor, sobbing like her life was over. But honestly? I'd never felt so clear. After I told Amber I was filing for divorce, things spiraled fast. She moved through phases like it was her job, sobbing, begging, gaslighting, rage, threats, back to sobbing. It was like watching a master manipulator run through her playbook in real time. The scariest part? She actually believed her lies. Or at least pretended to with Oscar-worthy conviction. But I didn't engage. I'd already set the wheels in motion. My lawyer had filed the papers. I stayed civil, not for her, but for my own peace of mind. Then came the ripple effect. I started getting calls and messages from people in our circle. Some were concerned. Others were just nosy. But one call hit different. My friend Joel, who used to hang out with us a lot before Amber started prioritizing her self-care. Joel wasn't a fan of hers, but he kept quiet out of respect. He told me something that made my stomach turn. "Dude, this massage guy isn't the first," he said. "There was a rumor a couple years ago, something about her and her yoga instructor." I didn't want to say anything without proof, but now. It was like someone took a sledgehammer to whatever was left of my trust. I started going through our old photos, emails, messages. Not to torture myself, but because I had this need to see what I'd missed. The signs had been there. Subtle changes in behavior. Her disinterest in intimacy. The night she said she was too tired or had a headache but stayed up scrolling her phone for hours. I even found a second phone hidden in one of her old handbags. Yeah. A burner. It was locked, but I didn't need to see what was in it. Just finding it told me everything I needed to know. And Luca? That guy went radio silent after I confronted him. I later found out Amber had cut him off too, probably to keep him from causing more damage to her poor me narrative. She started telling people I had been controlling. That I was distant. That she wasn't herself and made a mistake in a moment of weakness. Classic Amber. Queen of deflection. I didn't correct every rumor. I let people draw their own conclusions. The ones who mattered stood by me. The rest? They could believe whatever fairy tale she was spinning. But what hit the hardest? How long I let this happen. How I missed the red flags. How I believed every lie because I wanted to. Once the divorce process started rolling, I made a conscious choice. I wasn't going to let Amber's betrayal define me. I wasn't going to let her lies rot away whatever self-worth I had left. So I shifted my focus inward. I hit the gym again. Not out of spite, but because it made me feel strong, alive, in control, something I hadn't felt in years. I picked up my old hobbies. Started writing again. Even reconnected with some old friends I hadn't seen since before Amber started isolating us from everyone she couldn't manipulate. Therapy? Yeah, I got myself into that too. At first, I didn't want to talk to a stranger about all this. But man, that was one of the best decisions I made. My therapist didn't tell me what I wanted to hear, he told me what I needed to. That I had trauma to process, that being cheated on wasn't just about betrayal, it was about having your reality rewritten right in front of you. And just as I was starting to feel like I could breathe again, she messaged me. Amber. A voice message. Not a text, not a call. A recorded message, late at night, after what I can only assume was several glasses of wine and a pity party for one. She said, "I miss you. I made a mistake." Luca meant nothing. I don't know what I was thinking. I was stressed. I felt unseen. You didn't make me feel special anymore. But you're still my home. I replayed it twice. First time, I felt a weird cocktail of emotions: anger, disbelief, even a pang of sadness. Second time, all I felt was clarity. She didn't miss me. She missed the security. The stability. The version of herself she got to be when I kept her world from falling apart. She wasn't sorry she cheated. She was sorry she got caught. She was sorry her lies had consequences. I didn't respond. Instead, I blocked her number, deleted the message, and added it to the long list of reasons I was glad I got out when I did. It happened at the worst time and place, like these things always do. I was grabbing a coffee at this little spot near the gym I'd been frequenting. Regular morning, nothing special. Hoodie, headphones in, just waiting for my latte. And then I heard that voice. Her voice. Amber. She was at the counter behind me, arguing with the barista about her order being wrong. Same dramatic tone. Same entitlement. For a moment, I debated walking out before she saw me. but fate wasn't on my side that day. She spotted me right as I turned. "Oh my God," she said, as if she'd seen a ghost. "You look different." "Better, I hope," I said flatly. She gave me this fake laugh and stepped closer, as if we were long-lost friends. "Can we talk?" I didn't want to. But part of me knew I needed to hear her out, not for her closure, but for mine. We sat outside. She immediately started in with the "I've been thinking a lot, and Luca wasn't what I thought, and I was just lost." A greatest hits compilation of every excuse in the cheater's handbook. "I was vulnerable," she said. "You were always so strong and independent, I felt small." I stopped her. "You felt small, so you started sleeping with my chauffeur?" I said, unable to hide the bitterness. "You lied for months. You looked me in the eyes and told me you loved me while sneaking around in my car. And now you're trying to paint this as some spiritual crisis?" Her eyes started to well up, and I braced myself for the waterworks. "I still love you," she whispered. "No, Amber," I said, standing up. "You love the idea of me. You love the version of your life where I pay the bills and turn a blind eye while you play out your little soap opera with whoever gives you attention." People were starting to stare. She reached for my hand. I pulled back. "This isn't your redemption arc," I said. "This is my exit." I walked away, leaving her at the table, alone with her iced coffee and crocodile tears. After that final confrontation with Amber, something shifted in me. It was like my brain could finally stop running loops of what went wrong and what if I'd seen it sooner. For the first time in a long while, I slept soundly. No overthinking. No pit in my stomach. Just silence. Peace. I focused on rebuilding my life. Started hitting the gym more. Took a short solo trip to the mountains, just me, my backpack, and the fresh air. I even picked up cooking again, something I used to love but had let fall to the side during the chaos. My place slowly started to feel like a home again instead of a reminder of what I'd lost. The divorce papers were finalized without much fight. Amber tried to guilt me once or twice with long emails that felt more like performance pieces than apologies. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. But here's where things took a weird turn. One evening, I got a message on Instagram from someone I hadn't thought about in years. It was Lena, Amber's old friend. The one she used to claim was too dramatic and a little toxic. Turns out, Lena had stopped being friends with Amber months before the affair came to light. Her message read, "Hey. I know this is random, but I just wanted to say I always thought you deserved better. I saw what she did to you from the sidelines and it never sat right with me. If you ever want someone to talk to, no pressure. Just putting it out there." Now, I wasn't looking to rebound or dive into anything romantic. But that message hit me in a way I didn't expect. Not because it flattered me, but because it reminded me that I wasn't crazy, or bitter, or too sensitive like Amber used to say. I was just a guy who trusted the wrong person for too long. And there were people, good people, who saw through the lies, too. I never thought I'd be the guy writing one of these posts. You always think infidelity happens to someone else. Someone inattentive. Someone cold. Someone in a broken relationship. But here's what I learned: it can happen to anyone. And sometimes, no matter how loving, loyal, or supportive you are, it's not enough to keep someone who doesn't value you. Amber didn't cheat because I lacked something. She cheated because she lacked something, and instead of facing it, she ran to someone who gave her temporary ego strokes. Someone who let her live in a fantasy where she was worshipped and never challenged. She lied because it was easier than owning up to what she was doing. And the hysterics? The gaslighting? That was all just deflection. I've learned to trust my gut again. I've learned to watch for patterns, not just isolated events. And I've learned that self-worth can't be tied to whether someone stays or leaves. I'm not bitter anymore. I'm not angry. In some strange way, I'm even grateful. Amber showed me who she really was. It hurt like hell, but it gave me the chance to rebuild without illusions. To actually be free. To anyone reading this who's in the early stages of finding out something similar, it's okay to feel broken. It's okay to be confused and angry and sad all at once. But please know, it does get better. You will come out stronger, wiser, and more in tune with who you are and what you deserve. And most importantly, you are not alone. Thanks for reading. Reddit helped me more than I can say. If this post helps even one person feel a little less crazy or alone, then it was worth it. A guy who finally chose peace over pain.